Hey, fellow cycling family and friends, I just want to tell you how gorgeous you are today, and I hope you have the most amazing week. Now, it's December, and I hope you have your gear list ready and sent off to Santa. You're a woman, this is totally for you. The 4-week cycling skills workshop benefits all women. These skills can be implemented immediately on the bike and trainer, cycling outside, indoor cycling, on a spin bike or Peloton. All your current frustrations and questions will be answered, guaranteed. If you're interested in joining me, don't wait another moment. With this link, you can get started at the beginning of each month. I know you're trying to decide whether or not to check out the 4-week cycling skills workshop for women, but I don't blame you. There are so many other online cycling training platforms that offer cycling routes and training sessions, but here's what makes my 4-week cycling skills workshop different. First of all, it's taught by someone who's not just starting out, but actually is pretty experienced. I've been working with free clients in my cycling club, Cycle Fit Chicks, all the way to Canadian national female cyclists, and I continuously update my coaching tactics to help beginner to advanced cyclists level up with these cycling techniques hardly anyone is talking about. Secondly, the 4-week cycling skills workshop for women is so much more. A lot of times there are online cycling training programs that teach you how to train intensely, but actually don't help you develop the fundamental cycling skills and techniques such as gear management, hill climbing, strength, power and speed, and nutritional timing in order to effectively become a faster, fitter, and more efficient cyclist and well-rounded athlete. And also, there are very few courses about cycling that actually teach you how to develop a smooth, efficient pedal stroke. The 4-week cycling skills workshop for women aims to fill both these gaps in cycling training. Not to mention, the workshop provides the recordings of the explanations, demonstrations, plus homework. In addition, you will gain access to a library of over 100 strength training workouts to help you level up, and that is all on top of the core curriculum you already get when you join the workshop. So it's safe to say I'm delivering incredible results coaching over 1,000 female cyclists through my cycling club, and now it's even more exciting to impact more female cyclists globally through my 4-week cycling skills workshop for women. You can't go wrong when you join a workshop developed by a woman for women. It's time to level up and remove the frustrations. So if you're ready to join, just click the link that you see and secure your spot today in one of the next 4-week cycling skills workshops for women sessions. Now, before the new year, with this amazing deal, a 25% off until December 31st. Limited spots available. Don't wait another minute. Click the link and roll today, and I can't wait to see you on the inside. All right, everybody, welcome back for another episode of Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling podcast with your host, Sylvie. And we have a really cool guest on today. I've been watching her on Instagram. Her name is Ellen Carozza. Is that right?
You got it.
Yeah. And she has one of the most successful cat Instagram accounts. It is the Cat LVT. So she has over 100,000 followers there. But the thing is that not only is she a cyclist, but she is a cat veterinarian. So she's at LVT, which is like licensed veterinarian technician in Virginia. And she works at the Nova Cat Clinic, and they're very busy right now. Apparently, she was saying she's able to get away for this interview. And also, I'm super excited that she's here so we're going to talk bikes and we're going to talk cats and then we're going to cry. So you better be ready. Oh, and the kids just showed up. So if it's noisy upstairs, that's what's happening.
That's life.
Welcome, Ellen.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate meeting you now. It's, been a while. I've been watching you on Instagram and everything. And then you started watching me. And I was like, this is like really cool. I was telling my husband, I'm like, I have this cyclist that follows me on Instagram. I'm so excited. I'm like, she's so
I'm like,
cool.
oh, she does cats and she's a cyclist. Woo! So it's just like we bonded. And then I
Right?
think it's been like, I don't know, maybe 8 months I've been watching you and your stories of some of the cats that come through. The little one, what was her, Anchovy?
Yeah, Anchovy finally, we had to make a hard decision to let her go. Her wounds got the best of her. I mean, we
I
gave
bet.
everything a valiant effort, but the body wants to heal in certain ways, and sometimes you can't stop the body from healing the way
Right.
it wants to. And many times it can cause more damage than healing. And
Mm-hmm.
you got to look at the end of the day, it's about their quality of life, not ours. So,
Yeah.
we had to make a really difficult decision for her.
Yeah. So if you ever go back and you surf through her Instagram feed, Anchovy's this little cat that came in with burn wounds.
Yeah, so she actually is a welfare case, and I'm not allowed to even know about like what's going on with the case or anything. All I was told
Mhm.
is that she was, quote unquote, given a bath via dunking in some scalding hot water. Um, and then the person waited several days before seeking medical attention. They said they cooled her off in cold water immediately afterwards, and they thought that would be okay. Um, but then they waited, and of course it's that wait period, which is the worst, because when you have a burn, you have to like address it immediately, or else the cascade effect really starts happening with sloughing and tissue dying and all the other problems that go along with it. But I'm never allowed to know, like, how did the case come out? Like, did we
Yeah,
actually
I do really want to know those gruesome
right. And it's
details for some.
that's something like I actually do want to know how the case ends. It's like, the one of those um
You peek in the
CSI
file.
files that you're like, please, like, I hope, did you guys like do something about this person that could go out the
Yeah,
next day and
seriously.
adopt somebody else? So it's like one of those things that you have like that curiosity about, like you just feel like you got to like close the book. And I feel like with her, like I'll never know. She'll be the unsolved mystery, so I'll never know.
Well, she was a cutie patootie for sure,
She was.
but there's just some people shouldn't never be near animals, period. And anyway,
Hey,
so
we feel
before,
that way sometimes too.
yeah, I don't know. What do you do with people like that? Are you able to report them? Not that
It
we're getting off
depends
the
upon your
topic of
local
session.
jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So it really depends upon the state as well, because you have county and state law. And you can report, you know, depending upon, did they seek care? Was it maliciously done? So it gets like really weird. And in veterinary medicine, we have to document things very specifically in order for the authorities to actually build a case. And you just don't get the police involved. You have to get animal welfare involved with the shelter and
Ooh.
everything. Everything has to be documented. You have to be very open to interviews about the case, everything. So there's that reluctance sometimes that you can see, because a
Hmm.
lot of veterinary places, you can be like, yes, we're all about animal welfare. We're going to some places that are like, God, I can lose my business if I really speak out about something. But at the end of the day, it's all about animal welfare.
Hmm.
And it's the easiest thing to do is contact animal welfare and be like, I'm running into this problem. What do I do? And then they'll usually walk you through it. So it's always
Hmm.
about the animal coming first and then figuring out what's happening later. Never place blame. Always ask questions first, document everything, and then we go from there. So
Mm. So yeah, you might be thinking, what are you listening to? But
right. We're supposed to be
but
talking about bikes.
that's right. We're supposed to be talking about bikes. So I had found out I was listening to, so I was following Ellen on Instagram, and then I saw that she was a cyclist and she was talking about training during the winter and everything. And so that's kind of what got me to reach out to her and start talking to her and commenting and having a dialogue. And so let's go back to cycling and
Yeah.
how you probably use it to
Oh my
escape,
God, it's a
maybe.
stress reliever. Yes. So I had to stop cycling for a few years. And when I first started cycling, my husband got me into it. And I had one of those old clunky bikes that you get at like Toys R Us or something, like the adult bike. It was like one of those old steel bikes that were heavy as anything, but it was like, I got a bike. And meanwhile, I grew up riding bikes. I think I had an E-Spirit 10 speed growing up, and it was red, and I never took care of it. Like, now you're washing your chains and doing all this kind of stuff. Now, like, I don't even recall lubing a chain on my bike.
Like, what bike?
I mean, it was a bike. When you were a kid, you like threw it on the side of the road and you went running back into the house. And so that was like my first like adult bike that I never took care of. And then I moved down here with my husband, down to the DC area, where I got a hybrid, not thinking like, you know, the benefits of actually road cycling again, because I just took my bike for granted as a kid. And then my husband upgraded his bike to something quite fancy by Giant. And then he was like, you should look into upgrading your bike. And I was like, all right, I don't want to pay that $2,000 for a bike. What are you, nuts? And then I caved and I bought my bike.
And then you're like, wow.
I know, it was like night and day. And I got myself, I think it's the Giant like OCR Limited for women before it became like live bikes. So it is an older version still, but I don't see myself like doing racing or anything like that anytime soon. So upgrading it to one of the new live bikes that are like really cool looking, like I don't see it benefiting me yet. This bike has, pulled my daughter on those horrible parachute rider things. You put the little kid in the back, haulers, and then it's like dragging like 90 pounds of extra weight all of a sudden. So it still works. And now I have it like hooked up to the trainer. For this past winter training, I finally was like, I need to do something. I need to get all of this horrible energy out from COVID and working at the hospital and stuff. And my husband bought a trainer and I'm like, I need one. And he's like, stop copying me. And I'm like, I need one anyway.
Deals on 2 instead of 1.
Right. And so it turned into like, no, this is going to be a bonding experience. We're going to do this together.
Oh, God.
Well, right. So every couple says it's a bonding experience. What it turned into was flat out competition. Right. I was like, did you go on Zwift today? I don't know. Did you go on Zwift today? How many miles did you do? What was your fastest?
I didn't see you on Strava today. You've been Strava.
Right. And then we're like, did you give me a thumbs up? Like it was like one of those stupid things. But it turned into like a whole winter thing for me. And I felt great. Because like a couple of years ago, I fractured my back when I got double pneumonia from coughing so hard.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, ladies out there, when we start aging out and you're going through menopause, which like I'm already beyond menopause, be careful with everything that you do, even though I am young.
Okay, this is where protein and collagen come in place, ladies.
Right, absolutely. Every morning
double it.
Coffee. Poof.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these are things that you don't think of. Like in your 40s, you're like, I'm still in my 40s. I'm still relatively young. I shouldn't be having these problems. Well, I did. I wound up getting a compression fracture.
Oh, wow.
In my L5, and it put me out of commission for more than 2 years. It was that bad.
Oh, wow.
So I waited 6 months for them to repair the fracture because they were, should we fix it? Should we not fix it? Your pneumonia is still bad. We really can't do anything. And it took me like 6 months just to get over the pneumonia.
Holy crap.
And then they found out that I had like osteopenia and all this stuff. And you have to go on all these bone supplements first before they'll do anything about stuff. And, you wind up gaining a bunch of weight because you become very sedentary. Medicine and, particularly veterinary medicine, that's the only thing I can like compare myself to. We don't eat well. We don't take care of ourselves. We don't have time to take care of ourselves. So like getting on my bike in the afternoon was like, that is like my self-care time. Like I'm going to be really proactive. I'm going to do all this self-care stuff that I'm seeing everybody post about.
Yeah, that's right. A little FOMO.
I'm going to start feeling good about myself. Self-care matters.
What did you do, Ellen, today? Did you do anything?
Yeah, right. And like I might have shoved a cupcake in my mouth is
something.
what I might have actually done. And then you have clients that are constantly trying to like, we love you guys so much. Here's some cookies. Here's this.
Oh gosh.
And you don't really get to sit down.
Baskets, please.
Right. Oh, let me tell you. So during the Christmas months, when we do get sent like a fruit basket, it's like the full on, like, I need an apple. Like, oh my God, this is so nice to have something like so fresh.
You should
And
put a little
you
sign
don't
up.
feel gross when you eat it.
Yeah. If you put a little sign now, because Christmas is
Yes.
coming up, because you'd be like, if you feel so moved to send us something, please.
Oh my God,
go
send us the
to
Harry and
this
David pears.
website.
They're delicious.
Yeah, just go here.
Golden pear.
We like these baskets, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, you don't eat well and you don't take care of yourself. And so it becomes that horrible, downward spiral. And then you feel like you're back at square one. And I used to be incredibly fit. Like I used to lift weights constantly all the time. I was very flexible. And then after you have kids and life changes and, your priorities change, which you wind up prioritizing yourself last.
Yeah.
It really catches up to you. And so this was my year of like, I'm going to kind of like
Well, can I ask you how old you are?
Oh yeah, I'm 45.
Okay, girlfriend, I just turned 50. So this is the time. No, honestly, this is the time between now and 50 to get like super, super like healthy, because that's what I was thinking of like at 47 42, I started to notice things, and then 45, and then like 40, and I'm like, okay, I've got to really like make sure once I hit my 50s, I'm at this stage, because I know what's going to happen in my 50s, and it can go downhill pretty quickly if I don't stay on it. Right. And it's staying on it. That's like,
45, and that's
you got
the
5
important
years.
thing. Like there's only so much aging and you can't reverse it after a while. Like I could tell you these past 2 years, I have gone like incredibly gray just from the stress. And the stress alone, like a lot of people don't realize that chronic stress. See, your hair looks nice and luscious today.
No, look closely.
Oh, see, no, now you look like you have tinsel done up in them. Like my hair, my daughter's like, what is this? I'm like, we won't talk about this right now. And I'm too lazy to dye my hair.
I haven't gotten there yet.
Right. Chronic stress and inflammation, causes like detrimental, long-lasting effects in the body. And I'm sure you know it. When you train people, you probably hear the same story day in and day out. Like I hear the same story day in and day out from like my clients and their cats. And you're like, I get it. But if you're willing to make the changes,
this to your cat, but you should be really doing this.
Right. And then, and you have to have like the nutrition talk and everything. And you're like looking at a client and they're looking at you. And I'm like, oh God, I feel really awkward talking about this because I don't take care of myself. And clearly you don't take care of yourself either. And I'm clearly looking at your very obese cat. And so clearly all of us have a huge problem here. Like,
I have an obese
you really
cat.
feel like, do I have a right to even like discuss this? Because like, I can't even take care of myself. So it's, you have that imposter syndrome constantly because you're like, I shouldn't be judging you. Look what I look like. Look what my pets look like. So, yeah.
So how do you handle that?
It's very difficult.
That conversation. Because
it's right. It is very difficult because it's one of those conversations that, can make or break a relationship with people because people are incredibly sensitive about weight. And regardless on how you feel about it, it's important. I think everybody's, and I'm going to probably catch so much shit for it, is the body positive movement. While yes, you should be very positive about yourself. In general, you should be positive about your health and what you can always do to do better. I don't like the positive affirmations of, being lazy and not caring about your actual health and what you can do to make yourself better. Because I can tell you right now, me being overweight, I have a ton of joint problems. I have huge orthopedic issues right now that my doctor is like, in 5 years, we're going to be replacing joints if we don't fix things. And I'm not that overweight. Like I could lose probably 30 pounds easily. But, when you
on
walk in the
your feet
office
all the time.
Right. I'm on my feet all the time and I don't take care of myself. So can I feel like I should be positive about myself? I should be positive about myself because like I'm still up and moving and walking and everything and feel good about that. But I do not feel body positive, knowing that I'm not taking care of the vessel that I only have one chance with.
We should work
and that's
together.
how I look at it. What'd
We
you
should
say?
work together. I said, we should work together.
I know. And that's like, I'm like, I feel really weird talking about this because people are really going to get mad at me. And I feel like it's like one of those
Why? No,
conversations that you have to have, especially when you have people that are like, this is really affecting the quality of my life. And I feel like we don't pay attention to that. Like we're more on these outward appearances and, how people should view you constantly. Well, how do you view yourself? Like, and I can be honest, like, I think I'm a good looking person. I feel like I have a wonderful personality. I love what I
I
do.
think you're.
I enjoy my family. Do I feel like I actually love my actual body I'm in and taking care of it? No, look at what I look like. Look what I'm doing to myself. Like it's chronic stress.
Okay.
I don't eat right or anything. I just don't take care of it.
I think, Ellen, you're screaming that you need help and you don't know where to find it.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
And maybe that's why this conversation is happening too. Because I mean, like, that's what I do. Not only am I a cycling coach, but I do help people. And sometimes it's just totally separate. Like I help people with their cycling and technical needs. And then there are those who are going for the full transformation, full health journey. And it's a huge commitment. And that's like, it sounds like you're on that trajectory to like looking for
I want to go
something.
back to that trajectory. I was there before, and now that I've gotten so busy with work and my consulting and all that kind of stuff, it's like, that's like my priorities have like for myself has like bottom tiered totally. And it's like, yeah, I know I need help. Absolutely. I'm like one of those people that I'm not going to enable myself, but I'm like, that cookie versus that yogurt. Sure. Like what's the easiest one for me to grab and go? Like,
so
yeah,
what's your
all
consulting?
about priorities. Oh, so priorities. I know, right? Do I want the 210 calorie cookie and walk down the hallway and shove my lunch in my face that way? Or do I like, where am I going to eat lunch? Like you can't like walk around with food in the clinic, but you can shove a cookie in your mouth and walk away. And this is why I think there's the huge problems in the workplace that in the United States, we don't prioritize breaks. We don't allow people to actually decompress and actually take care of themselves. So I think like a lot of it has to do with the corporation stuff we work with that, it's not about your worker. It's about how much money and how much, work we can get out of them during the day. Well, if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of a company. So I think
is that how you're feeling, right?
Changes have to happen there.
Yeah. But does your veterinary clinic work like that? Like, is it a corporation or is it independently owned?
It's independently owned. We mostly have breaks. Like a lot of the staff are able to break and do things that they should, whether or not it's on a regular basis, like it's on the same time every single day. That's very different. Me with my schedule, it is all based on getting the patient through the procedure and moving them through procedures. And if we have a down moment, that we have enough time that we can step away from what we've done, or if there's enough staff on that current team that we can actually stagger, then yeah, you might get a lunch break at the appropriate time. Or like me, half the time I wind up working straight through because there's so many animals to attend to that, you're lucky if you drink the normal amount of water you should. So, yeah. So that's a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't admit to. I know where my faults are. I know where it needs to be fixed. And it's about
let's talk about how we can fix you.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about how many fix me. And it has to go with my bike.
Yeah, it has to go. Okay, well, let's talk about your bike first. Ellen, have you decided, and this is what I'm going to be doing, I'm working with my group, is picking out the right amount of hours a week that you can commit to getting on your bike. Right. And my program, it's one night, it's a Thursday evening, and I found that this is what I did last year and it worked really well for me. I didn't stress over doing too much. I didn't stress over doing too little. And I found that I got the right amount of balance in there to give me like a really strong spring. And that's basically what we want. We want to continue our, fitness level for cycling and get to the spring with a better fitness level, right? You know, from where you left. So I decided, so how many hours do you think you could commit to getting on your bike a week that works with your schedule, not with your friends, not with your husbands, you? What's that
Oh yeah,
number?
well let's back up just for 1 second. The riding with my husband lasted
Okay, forget about it. You
exactly, I
guys,
think like twice. So we're taking him out of the equation now. So he's
that's
only
right.
the weekends, if anything.
You got your
If I
trainer.
do,
So how many times are you going to get on your trainer?
I usually right now, if I'm lucky, these past 3 months have been so bad. I was lucky if I was getting on it 3 times a week. That's how bad
But
it
what,
got.
how
And it
many
usually
hours is
was
that?
Saturday and Sunday, probably looking
Yeah.
at it like a good 2 hours on the trainer. Now, this past winter, when I actually had time, I was on it
Mhm.
every single day for at least a minimum of half an hour. And I would do
Okay.
tracks and stuff. I just
Mhm.
wouldn't time myself.
Okay.
Because I would also do weights and stuff afterwards, or some really good stretching. And my workouts total usually was like anywhere from like a half an hour to an hour and a half total with everything. But the
Okay.
bike, it was always a minimum of half an hour, because that's as good as I was on the bike at the time. To finish the track was like a minimum of a half an hour work. Sometimes it was maybe a little bit over an hour, depending on how many miles I put in.
Oh, and Ellen, if you want to eat or drink something, you can do so while we're talking, because I feel bad.
It's okay. I was like drinking my cat tea earlier. My cats and I talk shit about you, Mug.
Yeah. So what I was thinking, like, was designing a plan that would best structure. So you have a little bit of weights and some structured cycling time. So whether it's like 4 hours or 6 hours, 3 to 4 times a week, one with a technical time, one with a long straight, you know, like your Saturday group ride, another with like maybe something a little bit more intense, working that kind of schedule in. And then weight training 45 minutes a couple times a week. And, you know, and just following that, not anymore, try not to do less, but really fit it into a calendar.
Right. Yeah.
And then be really structured. Yeah. And I know
right,
it all sounds
sounds
very
so
nice.
doable, right? Until like when you work at a hospital and then you stay late, or you come home and you can't even walk anymore because your joints hurt. So yeah, I totally get it. And it was something I would actually be able to do if I could commit starting probably 3 times a week with the schedule I currently have with the patient overload.
Yeah.
Before, I was exercising nearly every single day of the week. And I felt better.
Of course you would. Yeah.
Of course you get like that wonderful exercise high. Like Monday, I'm like, after I got off the bike, I'm like, I feel so good. Like that, I really kind of needed that. And I didn't lose any of my strength or my time or anything. I actually was very consistent. It just makes me really afraid that you wind up committing to something and you've already failed in the first week because everything else steps on you. And I can't walk away from something that's dying on its table because I have to go take care of myself. Like I always have to take care of that animal first and then be out the door at a certain time. So that's the one, the one motto we always have in medicine is like, you don't leave that patient behind. So sometimes I'm home late, sometimes I'm home on time, but regardless, like my Saturdays and Sundays are like usually like my me time, which I really like to
do you get those
focus on exercising then. Yes, that my weekends is like you will be exercising and you're going to feel fantastic. And sometimes I'm down there for like 2 hours. My husband's like, what are you doing? So I was like, well, I rode my bike and I did my weights. And then I was doing my stretching and then I fell asleep on the floor because I was, all into like, I'm like now winding down and I'm like, in like, corpse pose, like listening to my music and like the cats are all laying on top of me. I'm like, this is nice. And like, I felt like I took care of myself. When I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, it's like 11:30. Like nobody came to get me. And he was like, oh yeah, like I didn't hear anything. I felt like you were still exercising. Of course I was. And I was like, I felt great. I was taking care of myself. Right, I do. During the week, is that possible? No, it's definitely going to have to be shorter, more, like more intense. I don't want to say the word intense, like more compacted, Like
Yeah.
you need to have everything like once and done, like a little bit of everything, but not like those annoying, soul cycling when they're like, let's lift weights and, do stuff at the same time. You're like, that's a little dangerous with me.
No. That is
Like that's
not
not
a
going to
cycling
happen. I usually
class.
like listening to my music and like pedaling along and yelling at the cats while they're climbing like the drapes or something else that they're not supposed to be doing while I'm on the bike, and you can't unclip to go chase after them. So.
You're just going to watch and see how this unfolds.
Right. You're like, well, there goes that. Yep.
Mm-hmm. No, but you can definitely do shorter, intense workouts and also aerobic, not anaerobic, aerobic, shorter workouts too, like really intentional, like cadence driven things like that, that'll keep you moving forward and also strengthening, but not putting you into an anaerobic state, which is you need to do a certain balance of 80% aerobic, so base building, and then 20% anaerobic. So putting together, and I could help you with that as part of my program. But I mean, if the program doesn't work out, I mean, I can help you, and we can, maybe jump on and figure it out. And then there's the strength components and the nutrition.
Which I see on TikTok when you do your live workouts. I'm like, we'll have you up at work and be like, oh, she's got the bands. She's got the bands.
The bands are amazing. Yeah.
Like, we work out with you. We're like, we're just watching you going, yeah.
I'm like, I know everybody's sitting there right now. Coffee. You go, Sylvie. You're good. Keep going. Yeah, one more.
Right? We're like, we're putting catheters in cats. We're like, oh, she's got that red band out.
What are you serious? You're watching me while you're doing.
Yeah. So like, I'm gonna get some morning of motivation. Here we go. I mean,
maybe I should
strangest stuff while we're like waiting for patients to sedate, or we're like doing other diagnostics that require us. Like we'll have somebody in the background just chit-chatting away. We're like, oh yeah, this is good. I'm like, well, yeah, like, look, we're gonna learn how to get on a trainer by yourself, a roller trainer between the doors.
Oh yeah. I can't believe you watched that. It's so funny.
I was like, look at that. I'm like, I don't even have a door I could fit a trainer through. Like, look at that.
Oh, those rollers will fit anywhere. Like, as long as you're beside something that can catch yourself. That's the main part.
That would be me in my laundry room. I'd be like, I can't get out. I can't
whatever
see television. I can't do anything.
Someone get me off my phone.
I actually was looking at rollers at one point, and my husband's like, you don't want to. I'm like, but they're so less
amazing.
expensive than the Wahoo Kicker. And then I was like,
they're not expensive. They're like $150.
Right. And that's what he was like. He's like, don't get those. You're not going to have a good time with those. You'd be wobbling everywhere. And knowing him, he probably would be correct. I'd be like, up into the bookshelf, Oh,
well, you would be. Yeah. You would be for sure. It takes a little while to get your core strength and your mental focus, but that's one of the benefits of them is developing your mental focus to be able to, you start with 5 minutes and then go with 10. And then you move from the doorway to maybe beside the wall or like a chair, or even, have like a couch beside you. And then you just work your way up to being able. And it took me like years. I'm not that scared, but like years of not being consistent. But I was able to use them with Swift last year, and it was amazing. Like I did some group rides, and I have the Asiamo pedals, and so together I had the power on Swift, and so I found that it took me a while to get that mental focus down, so where I could stay on without falling off.
There you go. Right? Sometimes that's all it is staying on.
Oh my God, you motivated me to go live again. Oh, you guys are watching.
Yeah, we're like, she's working out. We got our morning. It's like, you remember watching ESPN fitness pros and stuff, and like Corey Everson, like back in the 90s. It's like that. Like you put it back on, you're like, I'm motivated today.
Yeah. But like
right now, but I'm here instead, saving lives.
Well, you start early. You said you started at 6.
Yeah, I start at 6:30. And then the unfortunate thing is that I'm an early riser. And before my schedule
What about working out before 6?
Right. So getting there. So I used to do early morning workouts when I was an 8 o'clock shift. And then when they moved me to 6:30 a.m. and my commute is nearly an hour into work. Like,
oh,
yeah. So you're up
that
at like
sucks.
4:30 a.m.
Oh,
and
wow.
you know, you get your cup of coffee, you get ready, and you walk out the door. And so I
Mhm.
really only work till 2:30, which in reality sounds perfect because you're home by 3:30. You can get on the bike and stuff. But like if you have,
Mhm.
you know, cases that you stay late for, or you have to write a webinar, or, you know, take care of some consulting businesses stuff, then you're like, oh
Mhm.
man, it's like, what do I put first? And in reality, you want to put yourself first, but then you also have deadlines that pay the bill. Ah, you have a cat. I love him.
I've
Which
got
one is that?
3. This one's Charlie.
Oh, I love his orange lips.
Oh, I know. Aren't they the cutest?
He's got this thing going.
Yeah,
Like he like wear lipstick and he's like kept spreading it on.
he with the kids is like a doll. They'll just carry him around. He'll put his arms around them and his legs. He doesn't let me do that with him, but my daughter, she just like carries him like a doll. Come on, Charlie.
Love it.
He was an
Right? And boy
SPCA
cats
cat.
are the best.
You think? Well, my
Oh
other
God, I
cat,
love boy cats.
Foxy, is like she'll never. She's starting to get comfortable, like more friendly now. She's getting older, but she was an SPCA rescue as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then
my
I was
husband has a
saying,
girl cat.
yeah,
That is weird. And that's Michelle, which everybody calls her Beeps for short. And so he works from home now because he used to, you know, commute in. My husband used to bike every single day to work.
Can you bike? Oh no, it's a little far, right?
No, oh my gosh, no, it's like 30 something. It's like 30 miles. And then you
that
have
is
to go
far.
down the WOD trail and then to go through all these back streets, and it's not the safest neighborhood in the world. So I have been mugged twice in Arlington already. So yeah, it's good. So yeah, like it's good. I got mugged.
God.
Yeah. So you wind up doing that. But so my husband always had these like perfect opportunities to do stuff, and I'm kind of like stuck going into the clinic every day. So I used to work out very early in the morning when I had different hours, and I would lift my weights and I would do my aerobics, and I felt great. And I came home, and I might have done some more because a long time ago, before I had my daughter, I was one of those that you had to work out and you had to look good and you had to feel good and you were muscular and perfect. Then you have kids, and then your career and everything. And then everything
You can
goes
still
downhill.
get there, Ellen.
I can, because I told my daughter, I'm like, now that you are graduated from high school and you're an adult, you're not my first priority anymore. Is that terrible?
Yeah.
Like, now my cats are, and now my body is. I'm like, you're an adult. Now. You take care of yourself. You know, and she like was a lifeguard this summer and everything. And I'm like, oh, I remember having like I remember those days and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, this is mom right now. I'm like, I'm just embracing who I am, and I'm just gonna take care of what time I have left.
Like, stop it. Oh my God. If I was there, I'd smack you. I'll go down to you're not in Virginia. You're closer.
I sure am.
Okay, you are in Virginia. Okay.
Sometimes I'm in Canada teaching.
Trip down there. I'm gonna come and get you. You come cycling with me.
You should come down on the WOD trail. You go from start to finish and finish to start. It's like 100 miles.
Yeah, that's the.
It's the railway. Yeah, the old railway.
Oh no, I was thinking about the Ridge Line.
Are you thinking about CNO?
No, but where's the rail trail?
So the WOD was the Washington Dominion Railway line.
Okay.
And
so very cool.
They took the rails up and they created a bike path years and years ago. And so now that is the most popular bike trail, along with like Capitol Crescent and all that stuff in DC. But this is like a nice, I can't say it's straight, it's rolling hills. In some areas you're like, oh, these are more than just rolling hills. But
you had a train used to go over that.
Right. So it starts in like right a little before Washington, D.C., in the Arlington, Alexandria area. And it goes all the way out to Percival, Virginia, which, you know, you're in the city and the burbs, and all of a sudden it starts rolling out into the country.
Yeah.
We're kind of like midway. And then you go to the bakery or whatever little shop is there, get a coffee and stuff like that, caffeinate back up, get some quick energy in, and then get back on the bike and hightail it out and, go back home. And then we're like, we're going to get these miles done in like 3 hours. It's like one of those things, like when you ride with the guys, because that's all I really ride with is my husband. Like our friend Joshua, who is a huge cyclist, he does like RAGBRAI.
I've heard about that.
Right. Yeah. And he wants me to do RAGBRAI. I'm like, I'm going to do it. Like, this is it. I'm going to sign up for RAGBRAI. I'm going to do this. Sounds so much fun. I love camping and I love biking. Let's do them together and go have a beer afterwards. So that was like my goal.
Good 2022 goal.
That's what we were talking about, because I said, I need time to actually train. He's like, let's get you on the bike and start doing it. And I was like, well, yeah, we got to do more winter.
What's that event about? Is it multi-day? Is it?
No, it is multi-day, and it's like across Iowa. It's like really flat. So it's across the whole state, and it's multiple days. It's like 5 days, and you do anywhere from like 50 to 100 miles in a day, depending upon where the sections are. So it's like almost like a tour to Iowa, but it's RAGBRAI.
I've heard it. I've seen that on different forums.
Right, it looks like a lot of fun.
I'm looking for cool things to do next year. Like in the 50, like my 50s, like I want to do interesting, cool cycling events. And I've been watching a couple of friends of mine who do different things across the United States. And
I know sometimes it's nice to live vicariously through somebody's life, and then you're like, I really want to kind of do it myself. You just have to get the motivation to actually like get off your ass and do it, and that's like, that's like my big thing. And it's like, it's really disappointing when you don't take time out for yourself. Like today I was like, oh, I got to finish this up. I have a podcast today. Oh man, it's my night to cook dinner, but I really want to get on that bike for at least like, if I can do 10 miles, I would be happy. It's like one of those things. So it's like those tiny short goals, like do something, Get
the Instapot out and then get on your bike.
I know. I love my Instapot.
You have one?
My husband's like, can we do something more than this?
You're like, who's cooking here? Hey.
Right. Pretty much.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we're going to look at some events for us. I don't know if I can come over there from Canada, but who knows? One of these days. And set up a plan for you. And what I like to do is I always like to start with the nutrition stuff.
Oh my God. Yes.
When I get people started, because a lot of the clients are like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to start on this. And then I'm going to add this. And I'm like, okay, let's just take a month and like get our nutrition down solid. And then let's start adding other things to it, and then adjusting.
And then they hand you your list and you're like, that's trash, do you do anything else other than trash? Like, do you actually eat fruit or vegetables? You're like, yeah, I do carrots. That's it. Like, yeah, no, like I totally understand. And I actually was admiring, you had put a post today that you were posting up about like macros and all this other stuff, and I'm like, I didn't know my fitness pal could do that. Like, and it's like, sometimes you just don't know how a lot of these applications actually work, and like what macros are best for you. Like, cause you have all these ads. Oh my God, Instagram's the worst for it, with all the diet ads that keep popping up. And you're like,
well, the thing is that
like, what is
and
this?
the reason why I did that little 5-day challenge is because a lot of people jump. And I mean, I use nutritional system as well. I've been using it for 9 years, but a lot of people jump into a lot of different things, but don't really know about their food, like really know about their food. Like, and then they start into the deprivation thing. Like, I can no longer eat that anymore because it's bad. And maybe it is, but like, you can, if you know, and you get to know about your food, know what your food is made of, like really know, then you start gaining an understanding as to what exactly you're putting in your body. And once you get to that point, you're like, okay, I now know that this is not good for me, or maybe I won't eat as much of it, or I truly am not getting enough protein. Now I need to figure out how I can do that like a couple more times in the day. And so it becomes more of an educational thing, because I mean, I started that way 20 years ago when I did a figure competition, and my trainer, that's how he taught me. He's like, okay, first he started with calories, actually. He's like, okay, so he gave me like a week's worth. So Monday was 1100, Tuesday was 15, Wednesday was 18, the next one was 13, back to like 14 or something. So it was like this during the week. And I had
it felt like a full-time job, right?
Yeah,
Just
well, it
tracking
was,
food.
but I could eat whatever I wanted as long as it fit. And then you're like, ooh, that really bumps up the calories, and I'm not even at till 3:00, like I'm gonna be, I've just ate all my calories in like a pasta bowl or something. You're like, okay, well, that's interesting. Or breads or cheeses. And you start getting to know what you need to eat in moderation, or what you need to eliminate and things like that. So I did that for about a month or two. And then he broke it down to macros. Now he get more specific. Now I need, like 180 grams of protein to 120 grams of carbs to 45 grams of fat. And then you got to make it fit. And so then you start juggling and weighing, and then you just end up eating the same thing every day.
Right. And then, when you look at it that way, because nutrition is absolutely fascinating. And I can talk about animal nutrition all day long.
Yeah.
When it comes to people nutrition, you're just like, like, this is really difficult. And it shouldn't be that difficult, because I do nutrition for a living for like animals. And I'm always talking about carbohydrates, the fats, the proteins. Like today I had to have to talk about how we treat malabsorption with high fiber, low fat diet, regardless of it being a kitten. I'm like, I don't care. We're not focusing on growth today. We're focusing on your intestines actually regenerating, those layers that it lost. When you look at the macros and stuff for like people food, you're like, okay, now I can have a cup of this or X of this, or like, oh, I hate this stuff. And then the smaller details on how like women who are postmenopausal, how you have to have a lot of fiber in your diet. And like, it's one of those things, like if you have underlying comorbidities, such as like, IBS or IBD, anything like that, that you're like, man, this could be my friend or my enemy. And, so I think what happens is when you reach out for help, you have to like actually find like the right person who actually will listen to you, because most people are like, oh yeah, like whatever, menopause is, you're just not going to get the weight off because of the hormones. Here, have some HRT and it should be that easy. It's not that easy at all. What it does is it makes you feel better, but it does nothing about retraining your thoughts on how you eat, what you can eat, and what your body actually responds properly to. Or the doctors are all going, if you look like orthopedic surgeon, I'll just say this right out. You walk in the office, they'll have this feeling overweight, try one of these sites. And it's all the prepackaged foods that they're trying to sell you to get the weight off as quickly as possible on your joints. Well, that may work for people that don't like to cook.
Well, it's inflammation too. It's not only,
it's
not only just the weight, but the inflammation from the food. And you're right, like the fiber, you're like, are you getting enough sugar? Like, are you getting the right sugars? Could people go on a low sugar diet? Then
right. And then you have all these sugar substitutes. Just like, you're like, is this like even enhancing the current inflammation I already have? So it's all these questions. So I really kind of admired like the post that you had up. I was like, look at that. It's like all right there on a piece of paper.
But you didn't. So exactly I got my next one. I found some brownies in the fridge. But still,
I'm going to log those brownies like I should.
That's the point. Right? I'm still on point for my macros. So I ate that brownie square. It tasted good. And then I had half a cup of cottage cheese with some protein. So that protein kind of canceled out the sugar, because it's very high in sugar and you need the proteins to kind of to balance it out. So I packed that in right after. But you wouldn't know, you might go back for another square because there was a couple in there. And so I won't know until the end of the day what exactly everything equals to. But if my proteins still aren't high, I will have a protein shake before bed, which will then square it, like it'll balance it all out.
Right. So then here's my question.
Yeah.
Probably is the $1 million question for everybody. So what do you do when you actually are working in a job, say like in veterinary medicine or human medicine in general, and the only time you really get to eat, it maybe might be dinner time and maybe swig some coffee during the day? Like, how do you fit all that in there? Do you do like that quote unquote intermittent fasting during the day? Because basically you're
No.
not really consuming calories or even decent calories. And do you pack it in all at dinner time and then go for the next day? Like, how do you tell people
Sometimes
to break
I find
that cycle?
Well, here's
Other
the
than say
thing.
you got to take a break no matter what. You got to find
No,
time,
well,
eat in the stairwell.
If I was you, I would have like a fanny pack of snacks and water on me all the time. And I don't know if that's even allowed, but the thing is, it's giving yourself enough little snacks that you can eat on the run. And when I used to work in my studio, like I was always with clients or doing things, and I would have like pre-made shakes, or I would have like shake packets that I could easily blend up or just shake and drink like a meal. And it takes 5 minutes, and that can save you. Or meal bars you can chop up, or I just made it really simple, like like the fruits, but everything has to be pre-prepared. You know what I mean? So you can easily snack it, but always like a shake. And even now, like when I'm out all the time, or I'm like back to back, or so, I always have a shake, or I always have a bar. And I always make sure that when I have my water, I have electrolytes in it. So it gives me a little bit extra as well. And I drink my greens. I don't get enough. So I put them in my shake, or I put them in my water.
So you find it's okay to do all the superfoods and everything into your, or do you think most of them are like whatever bogus, but you have products that you actually are tried and true and you're like, yeah, I'm meeting my nutritional requirements.
Yeah. Well, these I've been using for 9 years, and that's the reason why I started
You're
using.
Like, look at my skin. I look fantastic. My greens.
This filter is nice. Eh? You can't really see the wrinkles. I know. I love this filter. I know it's like a beautified filter. It's a zoom filter.
Oh,
you go find it.
I know it, right? I'm like, mine is like the grainy, like, matte.
No, and I've got a light. I've got a window right here. And but listen, look at this is.
Oh yeah, you got your ring light and everything.
No, I don't have a ring light. I have here, I'll show you. I'll show everybody. That covers my window so I don't look all washed out.
Smart move.
Because literally it's a huge window. But anyways, so when I learned a lot about my macros in the food and the balancing out of meals, when I found these shakes, that they were already balanced out, like 24 grams protein, 23 grams carbs and fats. And so I was like, there's everything I need. And it was a low cal, but it was very dense with nutrition. Digestible, really digestible. So let me just tell you, after I ate that brownie and wolfed down that, my stomach didn't feel so good. So I waited about an hour and I had a shake, and it made me feel so much better over piling other stuff on top of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you ever find that you eat just to hopefully something you throw in will mix with what is already in your stomach and you'll actually feel good?
Sometimes I regret what I eat. Yes. In that way you're like, man, I shouldn't have eaten that. I feel like crap after I ate it physically. And then even physically,
maybe if I eat something else, I'll feel better.
You want to eat something else to kind of cancel that feeling out. Yeah, totally. Do you find that the macro ratios are different for either life stage, or is it for the actual individual person depending upon where they are in their life stage? Like by
I don't think
like,
so.
what are you going through?
I think like we, as women, we know we need more protein for our bones period. We know we need to get fiber. We know we need to refine and choose better sugars. Like we need sugar, right? We need sugar to function. Our brain needs sugar to function. So when you start like eliminating all this, sugars and things like that, it's just, we need probiotics, we need greens. So you just have to sit there like, am I going to eat a salad? I hate eating salads, but I'll drink it in water. And that will give me my serving for the day.
So what does your typical day look like then?
Well,
and be
you'll
honest,
see.
like what does your typical day look like?
Okay, this is what I do. So I get up at 5 and I have water with some either lemon or apple cider vinegar. I started doing that about, I don't know, a couple months ago, maybe more this year. And I always have a little energy shot. This energy shot has green tea and adaptogens in it. So it actually elevates my my energy in the mornings. So that's at 5. I sit there and I enjoy every sip of it. I'm just like, and I drink the water. And then I have coffee and I started putting MCT oil in it. And I always have a shake for breakfast. Typically, I will have a shake unless I have time to make an actual sit down breakfast, which is eggs and some avocado. But really, I don't want to sit down and eat. So, who does in the mornings? And then I always have a snack, whether it's nuts or something upstairs, but you have to control that because you can overeat on nuts really quickly.
They're
like those Costco bags.
Pack, and I'm like,
nah, I know. So that's the hardest thing. This is like, because I'm doing my macros, it's like, oh, so I measure out how much because I know that I was
no,
like,
it'd be like 5
almonds
It'd
and
be
walnuts.
so sad. I'm like, I've eaten 3 of them. I only have 2 left.
Oh, really?
Terrible.
And so it's usually like some sort of yogurt or with some nuts and some extra protein powder or something. And then at lunch, if I don't feel lazy, I have pre-prepared frozen servings of meat. So whether it's ham or beef or chicken, that I just have to thaw and put something with it. So I get my protein because that's the hardest thing to do is get your protein. It's easy to find carbs. Carbs are everywhere. So I might have that in a sandwich with.
Are you picky about your carbs?
No, I will eat anything. I am the least picky. I'm the plainest eater. Like, I might. So, and really I keep this house pretty clean of junk food, period. Like it happens on the weekends. Maybe we'll go to the store and buy a bag of chips, but I don't come home with crap in the house. And that makes it easy, right?
Right.
We have popcorn.
Right. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people like they don't realize or they want to admit to. And I fully admit, like, yeah, like you buy the easiest things to have in the house because it's like literally a grab and go. And it actually nutrition starts at the home. Same thing with animals. And like you have got to put effort into your pet's nutrition if they have a comorbidity that requires a diet that you actually have to put effort into. And that's like, I think that's one of the hardest things that everybody really, can't grasp of is like, I really just have to like motivate myself to do it. And I have that motivation there, but not right now.
But you just don't know what to do. Like that's half.
Right. Where do you start? And when you live in a household with other people that are like, that's not my lifestyle. You're like, oh man, now this is even a little bit harder. Like what?
You're like, well, I'm just going to buy this stuff. And this is what I'm eating. You guys are on your own. But sometimes it's
easier said than done, especially
it is easier said than done.
You share the cooking and everything like that. Like I'll make something completely different, and then my husband will make something like very Southern, and you're like, oh, it's a casserole. Here we go. Don't eat for the next 2 days.
Okay. Then that's where you got all the carbs. You measure out a cup, And then you bring in more protein and more vegetables. So supper is always supper. Like,
Right.
so I make it super fast and simple for me. And supper is usually like we have where we're trying to do this still. Somebody's night to cook.
Right.
And supper is like the vegetables, the whatever, carbs, rice, pastas, and always a meat of some sort that's been thawed or sitting or, like ready. So nothing is processed. Everything's kind of been in the freezer, things like that. Plain Jane, unless I get a recipe book out, which is always nice because then you get something really fancy. But yeah.
My husband's like one of those people that has to have a recipe, and I'll walk in the kitchen growing up Italian and stuff like that, and I'll say, like, you just pulled something like right out of your ass. And I was like,
sometimes I do that with leftovers. I'm like,
right, and you're like, look, bam, look how fantastic they look.
Put it on a wok, and you're like,
I just put some seasoning on it. That's all I did. It was kind of like the time when I used to babysit, like when I was really young growing up, obviously. And my across the street neighbors rang up and said, we need to speak to Ellen because our kids will not eat their dinner anymore. And they said, we're not cooking the food the way she did. And my mom's like, oh my, what did she do? And I'm like, all I make them is macaroni and cheese because that's what their mom leaves them. And so my mom goes, oh, I know what she did. She goes, all she did was put pepper and paprika on it just to kind of like spice it up. Because these kids because that's how we made it at home, like growing up, when you you're able to eat macaroni and cheese and like run outside and go play for the next 9 hours and not worry about anything. Yeah. And they're like, what are you doing? I said, all I did was like just change it up like slightly to make it better. In my ideas, it was better, but like to mom, it was like, you don't change the macaroni and cheese recipe because now I got to put pepper and paprika in it for these kids. So
you're lucky that's all I put in it.
I know. And then my husband's like, everything has to be down to like the teaspoon. And meanwhile, I'm like,
oh my God, really? I'm like, yeah. And then we're not putting that in. And I'm going to replace that with that.
Yeah, I finally got him using like hot sauces and like chilies and stuff like that. Because before he used to be like sweat like anything. I'm like, you're from the South. You're supposed to kind of like Tex-Mex foods. Isn't that right? I was like, and it's all of us Italians. It's like hot peppers.
Is he a sweater too? My husband loves the hottest stuff. He just sits there. This is so good. I'm like,
oh, I love good. Like your sriracha. Man, love sriracha sauce. It's great. I actually want to do. There's that guy that does. Oh
my God, we're gonna have to wrap this up. It's been almost an hour.
Oh gosh.
I know.
Well, I won't finish my story then. Anyways, one day I'll do a hot wings challenge.
Yeah, not with me. No. You're talking about me? No, I'll send my husband to. You guys can have a hot wing. Oh yeah,
for sure.
He makes his own hot sauce. Actually, I planted peppers, and so he. Dries them and crushes them and puts them on everything. I'm like, he makes me cowboy candy. Have you ever heard of that?
No. What is it?
I don't know. I saw it on a canning. Okay, this is like totally off from our podcast, but it's with jalapenos, but there's a lot more sugar. So cowboy candy. So it's like sweet but hot. I don't like the hot stuff. So I saw this on so this is just off topic. So I saw this on a Facebook canning site, and they're like, oh my gosh, this cowboy candy. Oh my God, it's almost done. I have to make some more. I'm like, what is this cowboy candy? And then I started Googling it. And I'm like, hey baby, it's like right up your alley. Can you like make me some? So he made it. I'm just like, I pour it on everything. I put the peppers on. So I just like toss it on everything, like eggs and it just like really. So it's not hot, but it's like sweet hot, but there's a lot of sugar in it. But anyways, yeah. Cowboy candy.
Before we go, lightning round real quick. What's your favorite clothing line for biking?
Oh, geez. You know what? I wish I was in the States because there's nothing exciting up here. So I don't know. I wish I had one. If there's something anything from Spain, it would probably be that, or Brazil. Because I don't know. Do you follow some girls on Instagram? They have like these hot little one-piece suits. And I'm like, Where's the pockets for their food? You know,
Right, like let me tell you, so I do Pearl Zumi because that's always been like
okay,
my
well,
tried and
I
true.
recognize Pearl Zumi. I have BME stuff at home.
Right. And my
but-
favorite thing right now is their new line that you can pull it down over your butt.
Oh, I've heard
Oh
those.
my God, holy game changer. You just quick fix your jersey up and you're like, I don't have to like pull up my shorts.
I know. You can like
right over.
leave your shirt on and not get half naked while you're
right. Or have the guys
girls,
and like
let's talk
everybody
about
line
that,
up in front of
like,
me and turn around while I use the bike trail here in the woods.
Yeah, that's right. I got to
Like,
hold my jacket. You hold my shirt.
yes, that's the worst. Nope, not anymore. They're game changers. You have got to get the pair. I'm like, I love it.
Those.
Whoever invented those on that
it better be a
team
woman.
of the design is brilliant.
Yeah, maybe they brought a woman in. So a lot of these
brilliant. She's like, we just need something that when we squat down, we can pull it over our butt and then pull it back up and not have to worry about shifting everything. Yes, brilliant. Yeah, my husband was a little jealous. He's like, wait, your pants do that? I'm like, yes. And I said, it even has a side pocket.
Oh, nice.
You could put like a cell phone in it or something. Like, yes, some of them are fantastic. They're brilliant. And then like, and it's a hidden pocket too. Like you don't even see the pocket until you stick your hand and you're like, wait, it has a pocket.
Well, is it like are they like $200 though?
They are, but they were, you find a coupon online. There's always a sale, right? And then you just, buy yourself your pair and it's like, that's my biking pair on the weekends when I go out with the guys.
Oh, for the
and then I have my other training, bibs that are very similar, but not
that nobody should be wearing outside because you see my bum crack.
Right. But it's like one of those things you're like, yeah, this is my special set that when I go out with the guys, this is what I wear. And then I have like my inside shorts and I will never, ever go to shorts ever again. Bibs have converted
bibs are
me,
awesome.
for sure. Yeah.
Actually, I have to say Louis Garneau, I've never had a bib so tightly fitting. It's like a girdle. I don't know what it is about that model.
Yes. And the Pearl Zumi does that. It cinches your waist in and you feel you feel taller with them when you wear them and stuff. You're like, I feel like I'm gonna cut through the wind. That's how you feel when you wear them. Like you feel like when you actually wear really cool bike clothing, all that kind of stuff, and you actually like have a product you like and it lasts and you don't have any problems with it. It like you're like, I really want to go out and you just use it more. Like you don't get the weird saddle chafe areas like on your favorite shorts. You're like after a while you're like,
or you're walking,
I'm starting to burn a hole in it.
Like too thick.
Or the seams break, or the worst thing, like you just said earlier, if you see someone's butt crack or you're like, dude, your shorts are getting thin. I can see your ass completely through them when you bend over.
I can see them.
Don't wear those anymore. Like don't wear those anymore.
I've seen guys biking on the bike path. Like I'm just like,
like we see the same thing too on the trail. We're like, oh man, that guy's shorts, like, nope. Or when they wear white shorts, you're like, oh, and they don't have like a liner in it or something. You're like, oh my gosh, did you see that guy's ass like on the trail? And you're like,
did I see his ass?
I shouldn't say something like that. Like, check it out. We're like, oh man, he's wearing white shorts. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we're just going to thank everybody. So make sure that you follow Ellen on, do you have a personal one or is that your personal one? The cat.
That's my person. The cat LVT is like pretty much everything. It's tried and true, and everybody knows where to find me on like LinkedIn and Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and the Chris Griffey Memorial Feline Foundation or criticalkittens.org. You can find out what we do. I am
well, we're gonna put all her links in there. Right. So if you're a cat lover, or even if you aren't, you should be following her because she posts some really cool and nice things about cats and about herself.
How biking brings everybody together on that. Everybody, you have a real life outside of like everything else, and I think biking brings a lot of people together because you actually get to live vicariously through somebody else's adventures when they post them. It's very inspiring is the way I should say.
I'm so glad and fortunate that we found each other, so now we call ourselves friends and we can hopefully one day bike or drive by your place and go for a ride. It'd be so nice to go down there and ride again.
For sure. You have to check it out one day in the fall and do actually the Shenandoah trails too. That's pretty impressive.
Yes. Oh, Blue Ridge Mountain. That's what I was thinking of.
Yep. Yep. That's the
Blue Ridge.
Shenandoah. It's beautiful. And then you can actually do Skyline Drive as a bike ride. It's pretty intense, but a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
I mean,
beautiful.
seeing both sides is pretty cool.
For sure.
So with that, everyone, thank you so much for listening to us. Even though we chat about everything. We chat about cats, we chat about food, and you will see my end of day post. I'll put it up.
I'm very excited to see the end day macros.
Yeah, that's right. I got to make sure they're perfect. So I might have to eat something extra. Anyways, thank you so much, everybody. You can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook and YouTube. Oh, and TikTok. So I guess he's just like all arounder.
Right? You can watch your exercise.
Yeah, that's right. You're so funny. I can't believe you're doing that. But thanks, everybody, and have a great day. Take care.